Positive memories. I heard things like, I liked math, I was good at math. I heard things like anxiety. So right now, just being completely honest, no judgment, no evaluation, on a scale of 1 to 5, rate your math experience all the way through school, 1 being really not so great, 5 being excellent. Where would you rate your math experience now? And then hands down. Now the last one, before we dismiss the kids, what's the number that you want your kids to experience in mathematics in school? Everybody wants a 5, right? That's why we're all here tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce Ms. Durkin. She's our assistant principal who's going to do a lot of the leading of the presentation tonight. And I'll take the kids. The kids are going to come with me. They're going to do some STEM activities in the library, and we're going to kind of focus and target our presentation on the adults. She can bring her donuts though. Donuts are totally acceptable and stuff.
If you need another donut, have one.
For those of you who are church attenders, that felt just a little bit like the children were eating. All right, so what we're here today to primarily talk about then is multiplication under factor fluency. So we're kind of zeroing in on that today. We'll talk about what it is and why it's even important. You'll probably hear the classroom teachers that are in the room today talking about all the multiplication that's embedded in students' work with fractions at middle school. There's just so much that they do. And then, of course, we want to have ways to build and support factor fluency. So after we learn a little bit about what it is, why we want our kids to be fluent, then what do we do about it? So why are facts important? On one hand, they're important because we do a lot of calculations in our daily lives. We want to make sure that we're accurate in that. So we're going to watch a little video here, and maybe I'm not. I don't know how to like try to look at it from this, or do I even? You click on just the picture. Now.
Pennies. I figure 75% to you, Mama, and 25% divided between the 5 of us. Gina, Crowbar, myself, Tom, and the baby. That makes 5% for each one of us.
Billy, you're cheating yourself. If there's 25% divided among the 5 of you, that's 14% apiece.
Oh, no, listen, Pa. I wouldn't cheat you. You know I wouldn't. Now, look here. I'll show you. We're going to rub this out here. Now, 25 divided by 5 is 5. You see, the 5 won't go into 2, will it? No. But 5 goes into 25 5 times, you see?
No, you're wrong, Billy. Now, I'm pretty good mathematicians. Now, 5 into 25, 5 won't go into 2, will it?
No.
But 5 goes into 5 once. Now, we didn't use the 2 before, so we're going down here. Now, 5 into 20 goes 4 times. There you are. 5 into 25, 14.
No, look, Pa. Now, let me prove it to you. Now, by multiplication. 5 times 5. 5 is 5 is 25.
I'm surprised you're learning. I'm surprised that you're learning. Now I'll show you. 5 times 14 is 25. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5. 25. That's it.
No, look, Ma. Look, you're wrong there because I'll prove it to you. We'll put down 5 14s here. 14. There. Now I'll prove to you by addition that 5 14s is not 25. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20,
21, 22, 23, 24, 25. There you are. Now, price up, Billy. I want to see you boys cheated.
All right. 6 minutes after you close it out. So that's just kind of a silly example, but I heard the sixth form people talking earlier about looking at the reasonableness of your answer. Calculations and facts become very important to us so that we know that things are accurate. But in addition to that, we need them to support us in problem solving. We need them to support us in knowing that our answers are, at the very least, in the ballpark. But we also know that when kids have to devote a high level of brain power toward doing those calculations because the basic facts haven't gotten to automaticity, that we then take away from what we're able to do in terms of complex thinking and reasoning and really making sense of situations. So we lose the ability to really be able to apply basic facts. So that ultimately is the concern. Our concern on the surface looks like we got to have our kids knowing our basic facts, but deeper than that, we want our kids to be thinkers. We want our kids to really understand the concepts behind it. So then, as grades progress, the content that we're teaching kids becomes less and less about arithmetic or calculations, and more over time about applying those things in some real life situations. So it's that transfer to something real, something in our own lives that we really want. Whether, you can argue maybe that the kind of problems we pose in the classroom aren't real life, but they're meant to be real life stimulation, right? So we want to know, are kids going to be able to do these kind of things and think this way after they're done with whatever schooling they go to? So we have a bigger underlying goal. So when we talk about fact fluency today, another part of what is it is that we're talking about addition facts, we're talking about multiplication, division, and subtraction. And down the left side there kind of runs along with some of the standards that we teach. And interestingly enough, I put subtraction at the bottom in this because subtraction is commonly the most difficult for students. So if your child is doing well with addition facts, likely the place to go next is not subtraction. That's really much more conceptually based, much more abstract for kids to think about. So to go from addition to multiplication is a good link, because a lot of how we start in multiplication is doing things like adding and skip counting that form our foundation of addition also. So the more important part of this slide really is this right side. The words we might use for knowing your multiplication fact is fact fluency, but it's more than that. So we're in this whole realm of automaticity. We want kids to know these things, but they have to know them in a flexible way so we can actually use them to do something with them. They have to be accurate. Sometimes math gets kind of or math instruction in current classrooms gets kind of a bad name, like, I really don't care if kids get the right answer. We do, always. We do always. And we want kids to be efficient too. We don't want them having to take longer on a calculation than they take to think about the real problem situation. So we want some measure of efficiency which helps them with speed. So in classrooms, we want to make sure that things are more than memorized. If we just memorize facts, then we don't have the ability to be flexible with them. We don't have the ability to think beyond those numbers, for example. So we really work on connections with things. So how, for example, how is one fact connected to others? So we'll get back to that real quick. In the past, in our country, like as a whole, people have the common experience that what we did was memorize stuff. We might have played, I heard Mr. Flaherty mention around the world.
Very good at it.
We might have played Blue Ribbon Winner. We might have done problems just over and over and over for speed. We might have sung songs, we recited, like 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 3 is 18. That's bad, sorry. And other things are listed there. So, the bottom bullet on that previous slide is fastest meant smartest. That's really not the paradigm anymore. It's really, it's a piece of being good at math. It's not the totality. It's that automaticity in the parts that lead into that really help us.
Anybody learn a trick with their nines? Their fingers? Right.
Yes. So now, in any kind of facts, whether we're talking about addition, multiplication, division, or subtraction, we're kind of thinking about this continuum to build number sense into where you just know facts. So we start with direct modeling down there in the lower left, and that direct modeling is seeing it. It's very concrete. We're building it with manipulatives like cubes or something like that. We're drawing it. It's a step beyond that. Then we move on into counting strategies. So there's our link specifically from addition to multiplication in our case today. But that we might count by ones, we might skip count. There's some variations in there. And then derived facts and known facts are boxed together here to show that both of those are our goal. We want kids to be at this known facts, like just to be able to recall them. In giving some assessments to some of the kids this year, I would ask, oh, how do you know that one? And they'd be like, I don't know, I just hear it and know it. That's in known facts for sure, right? Can't help but know it sometimes. The limitation comes when they don't have the derived fact to back it up. So this derived facts might be like, this is my proof of what I know. This is how I could explain it to somebody else of what I know. So hopefully on my next slide. One more, we'll get back to one more, we'll talk a little bit more about derived facts, I guess. But it's a common question for parents to say, if they have a strategy that involves counting, why is that not okay? Why isn't it good enough? And my first answer to that is, there are so many points to be inaccurate in a counting strategy. If I'm multiplying 5 times 8 and I'm counting by 5s, I can go 1 too few, I can go 1 too far. If I'm multiplying 4 times 8 and I want to count by 4s, that is a little more difficult. There's counting by 4s, maybe I get off by 1, and instead of 12 when I should say 12, I say 11, and now I'm off by 1. And so there's just multiple points of not getting it right. So the other reason too is we eventually get out of the numbers under 20, right? And now we're in numbers to infinity, and we got to make sure we can do bigger things with whatever strategies we've already practiced and cemented. Because I don't know about you, but I'm not counting my 47s or 16s in any sort of efficient, flexible, accurate way. So counting is the middle. Like, it's an important part to go through. We just don't want to stop. So what we're at now is really aiming at derived facts. So we saw that 6 times 12 example earlier. Here's an example of one of those derived facts. 6 times 10, multiplying by 10, kids get relatively quickly, so I have that basic fact of 60 in being a part of my 6 times 12. And then the other 6 times 2, kids are quick with those doubles. And adding that 12 into it is my other part. So that's just one example. There's many, many other combinations of breaking 6 times 12 into different parts. And we want kids to be familiar, to know, to be able to use lots of them. We don't want to limit it. To kind of dig in a little bit more to derived facts, I'm going to give you a table task to do. There's yellow paper in the middle for scratch paper. There's pencils and pens there if you need it. And your task is to take just about 30 seconds on your own and think about what are all the different ways I would think about that problem, 6 times 12, and kind of jot those down, and then we'll talk about them as a table. Okay? So I'm just going to time about 30 seconds and let you think quietly. Okay, so that's the end of our 30-second quiet time. Now your goal is at a table, what can you guys come up with? So you may have one to share. You may want to put somebody on the spot at your table and say, what do you have? And ask them. I'll give you a few minutes on this. We'll just kind of be the judge of where we're at.
She sees the conversation.
So yeah, just break it into 12 into 6 and 7.
Hard or
And a percentage might know 6 times 8 is 4.
I would do it in a bigger, if we're doing a bigger number, I would do what she was talking about in terms of like taking 6 times 10 and 6 times 2. That's kind of like, so like 47 times 16 is the other number. That's what I would do, like 47 times 10. And so that's kind of
You're using it.
right.
It's just
Right.
she's doing elementary.